Hey guys, episode 55 of the stock series. A bit of a slight drop this week. Not too bad, but $2,000 off. Seems to be a bit of a rough week all round, really. Inflation sort of concerns that it's still lingering longer than people thought. US sort of 5.4%. Up from last month. Sort of government now saying it'll probably persist until the end of the year, and then it'll come down. Does it be sort of backtracking continually on what they're saying? I still think it's sort of here to stay, so that's why I'm in sort of a lot of inflation hedges. So the gold and silver has sort of held up reasonably well. So this sort of gold and silver portfolio is up about £500. Not too much really, but helps when everything else is going down. The sort of smaller silver companies and royalty, little one that I had, Metalla Royalties, sort of dropped a fair bit, but the bigger sort of Wheaton and Pan American Silver have come back. Pretty happy with this little portfolio. I think the polymetal is finally going through to IG from iWeb in the next week. So that's been 3 months. Painful process, but so I'm looking to sort of probably split polymetal amongst probably about 5 different sort of gold and silver miners, but mostly gold. So then I've got sort of 5 gold and 5 mostly silver. I may sort of still have a reasonable part in the Vanek GDXJ though. Just had a bit of a sort of change in strategy on the gold and silver side rather than just having the ETFs. Sort of quite interested in some of the individual stocks. So we'll see where we go from there. The Trading212, the ICE is down about $2,000. Not too bad, fairly obvious what has caused that. Mainly Bitcoin, but the ARCPI has dropped a little bit, about £400, I think. So that's 10% in the red now. Obviously, long term, we hardly worry about that. The US REITs sort of still helping hold up the portfolio. Had a bit of a sort of weakening in the pound or strengthening in the dollar, depending on how you see it. So that certainly affected things, but certainly helps. Sort of the main drop has been from Argo blockchain. That's not helped, but not too bothered by this. Bitcoin price hasn't been moving a huge amount really. This seems to be more stock specific. People unhappy that they weren't progressing their listing on the NASDAQ. It was always rumours. It was never sort of set in stone, and people have got very unhappy about that. So very emotional sort of people invest in Argo. I think rather just focus on the facts, focus on the business itself, sort of for the next year, rather than look at too much emotional stuff. Bitcoin ETP, not as you can see, not quite as bad, 4% down. So thought it was a bit of an overreaction from Argo. Sentiment and some of the gold miners sort of a little bit up and down. DLR, as I say, still helping the portfolio. Big drop in First Majestic Silver. Doesn't seem to have been corresponding to a drop in silver itself, so need to look into the news on this, but good company overall. What else we got? Polymetal. So that's pretty flat. Realty income doing quite well. Stag still doing really, really well, above $40 now. Get monthly dividend on that as well. Sylvania Platinum. So, yeah, rhodium prices have been hit quite a lot. Platinum and palladium sort of not doing too bad, but rhodium is sort of the real revenue driver on that. So that coming down sort of gives people a little worry. But yeah, as long as it's sort of, it's $15,000 an ounce, I think, between sort of $15,000 and $20,000, still incredibly profitable for Sylvania. So yeah, can't see anything wrong. Sort of at these prices, it's seems a bit of a steal with their growth. So yeah, that's taken a sort of real knock on the portfolio, but happy long term. Well, medium term with Sylvania, really. I'm not going to hold it forever. Yeah, and the UK REIT's not sort of holding up quite so well. Both the Tritax is down on the week. Yeah, whether that's sort of the FX rates changing, I don't know. It's only 1% or 2%, so don't get too worked up at that. Some of the bigger losses have been on the invest side. So it's only actually £1,500 down, because there have been some positives, but yeah, some fair losses in here. The Chinese tech stocks have sort of recovered a little from their sort of recent drops. But yeah, some of the sort of what I would normally think of as inflation hedges coming down a little bit. I mean, they're not strictly a hedge. I just think long term sort of increase in prices of what some of these guys are producing should combat inflation. But yeah, you see short-term drops. They are still stocks after all, and high inflation could mean higher interest rates. So that takes its toll on any stock, really. Baidu still not doing quite so well as Alibaba. Barrett sort of taking a reasonable drop. Caterpillar taking a reasonable drop, $4. Seems to be quite broad across the market, so doesn't seem to be anything tremendously wrong with any particular company. Glencore took a bit of a knock. International Paper took quite a bit of a knock, 5% down. Yeah, the ETF sort of not doing too bad. Generally don't move all that much. The Global Clean Energy did take a knock. That's fairly speculative, so it's always going to sort of come down with general stock weakness. The Global Water ETF doesn't care, just carries on going up slowly and steadily. Quite happy to just have that there as a bit of ballast. Yeah, Kiers 5% down, but yeah, still quite high at this price, really. Kroger, as a sort of defensive stock, does quite well, so that's up 3%, helping stem some of the losses. Legal and General, not too bad. Lennar 3%. Micron took a bit of a hit with the sort of various things going on in the chip world, potential sort of Intel buying out Global Foundries. Not really sure if that'll go through. It seems a little bit anti-competitive. There aren't many sort of fabrication companies out there. But yeah, whether this is having sort of an effect on Micron, I don't know. They're not really in the same business, but everyone just seems to see them as semiconductors. So takes a whack. Nvidia have sort of taken quite a whack from that as well. So yeah, seems weird. They don't really compete, but there you go. Yeah, Nintendo, not too bad. Porsche, not too bad as the rest. Process sort of coming back. They had a sort of fairly oversized drop, really, compared to the underlying holdings. So they've come back this week. Not too bad, helping out the portfolio. Renault taken a fairly big drop, 8%. Most of the car makers seem to have followed. So that's not good. Shell down 4% and Rio Tinto down 3%. yeah, Seneca Foods sort of helping prop up the portfolio, $53 now. So that's pretty good. 18% up on them now. So as a small cap foodie stock, pretty good. Yeah, the ETFs sort of down a little. Stellantis, as we say, the car makers sort of down quite a bit. Sort of economic worries and inflation and everything, I think, just weighs on the car makers. Not seen anything specific to those companies. TSMC took a whack, I think, with the Global Foundries rumours. Yeah, Taylor Wimpey took quite a bit of a knock as well, possibly rising interest rate concerns. Turtle Beach, 8%. It's only a very small cap, so that can happen. Tyson Foods down sort of with the rest. Vale, not too bad. And yeah, Viatris down a little. The video games down a little. Volkswagen, not as bad as Renault and Stellantis and the others, but just down a couple of percent. So yeah, to be down sort of $2,000 overall with some of those big losses, not too bad really. Hoping for sort of good things for the rest of the year and see where we go. So leave your thoughts in the comments below and like and subscribe. See you soon.